people. I try and come here and talk about a topic that is, something that you would be interested in, rather than just come here and talk about something that you have no interest in. I realize I'm standing between you and dessert, so I don't want to make it too long, but I want to hopefully plant a seed for you to make you think about. I know you learned about the circle of control that you have in your life, but I want to hopefully inspire you to use that every day. So this year I chose victimization to talk about. Who here has been a victim of anything, or think they have? Okay, there are legitimate things that we've all been victims of. But I want to challenge you, I'm going to give you a few little stories here, to be the victor, not the victim. Okay? And part of that, when you become a victim, or you perceive yourself as a victim, is that you allow that yourself. So you have the control, that circle of control, to prevent yourself from feeling that way. Okay? Coach Hicks talked about becoming an Ironman. Let me go through a couple things. First of all, who here has got a participation trophy for anything? Anybody? I've never gotten one of those. Now, let me tell you, there's nothing wrong with being recognized for stepping up and participating. That's a start, right? I mean, if you don't put yourself in the game, whatever it is, you're never going to have a chance if you don't start, right? So participation is important. I'm not belittling that. But I would challenge each and every one of you to become better and challenge yourself to learn mentally, physically, financially. When he talked about the Ironman, let me start before that. Who knows what it takes to become a marathon? Anybody know how far you got to run? 26. It's the 0.2 that hurts. It's 26.2 miles. But that doesn't mean you can run a marathon a mile a day for 28 days. You got to do it in 7 hours. Otherwise, guess what? You're not a marathon. You got to earn it. To become an Ironman, you got to do 140.6 miles. You got to do a 2.4 mile ocean swim. You got to do a 112 mile bike. And you got to do a 26.2 mile marathon. You got to finish the swim in less than 2 hours and 20 minutes. You got to finish the bike ride in 8 hours and 10 minutes. And you got to finish the entire 140.6 miles in 17 hours. If you come out 17 hours in 1 second, guess what? You're not an Ironman. So you got to earn it. It's like everything else in life. You got to earn it. Okay? While your reputation and your character are important and what people think about you, the most important person you got to feel comfortable with is yourself. So every day when you look in that mirror, it's not what you do, it's not what you say, it's what you do, right? I mean, you can say a bunch of things. If you don't follow through on it, guess what? It's just words. So each of you, it's not what you do when people are watching, it's the little things you do when people aren't watching, okay? Because that's who you really are when it comes down to it. So I want to tell you a few little stories. One is about a young child who was about 5 years old who was Jewish and didn't know anything about racism or anti-Semitism is against Jewish kids. They had no idea what that was. When they found out, they thought there was something wrong with them. Felt victimized. Don't be the victim, be the victor. Don't be bitter, be better. So that child grew up and now champions against anti-Semitism, racism. It's not just colored versus non-colored, whatever you want to call that description, because we're all kind of mixed anyways. It's not, that could be Asian, you could be Middle Eastern. The point is, we're all different, no matter who we are, no matter what color we are, no matter what religion we are. We're all different, but that's an opportunity for us to learn. You learned about being teams, right? Teamwork makes the dream work. Did I get it right? Right? So it's all about building relationships. So instead of taking that as being the victim, you take that as growing relationships and fostering those to learn from other people about why they're different. I'll tell you about another kid. Trouble in school, learning, 2nd grade, couldn't read. Struggled, okay with math and science, just couldn't read. second grade teacher picked up on something they called auditory integration problems. Kid ended up having to go 3 days a week to a special school, 3 days a week to help him learn to read, because he just couldn't spell, couldn't read. We call it now dyslexia. That kid was told he'd never do anything with his life, he was going to struggle, he was not going to do anything. Well, that kid ended up being a doctor. That kid ended up being a professor at a major university. And that kid was successful because he was a victor, not a victim. So all of you can do that. It's not special, it just takes work. Okay? In your circle of control. Again, Coach Hicks. Let me tell you about bullying. I know another story about bullying. Kind of running the litter kid, getting picked on at the bus stop by the big bully. His dad always taught him, hey, look, don't start a fight, walk away if you can, but if you got to defend yourself, defend yourself. One day, the bully took him on. The bully sat on his chest, pinned down both arms. His friend ran to go get his mom, who lived about a block away. The bully was punching him in the face. A car happened to stop. The bully, sitting on his chest, happened to let up on one of the hands, and the kid clacked him in the head with his lunchbox, cut his forehead, and the kid ran off. After that, that kid never messed with him again. It's about standing up for what's right. You don't have to be a victim, you can be the victor. In most cases, you should, again, I'm not saying you should fight anybody, but you should defend yourself. But more importantly is you have mentors, you have adults, you have people in place to help you. Ask for help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. Another story. Who here plays football? All right. Imagine you're a sophomore in high school at an all-boys school. You're 5'4", 105 pounds, and you step onto the field to make the varsity football team. What do you think happened? Laughed, right? How's a 5'4" guy going to make 105 pounds going to make the varsity football team? He's not. But you know what? People respected that kid for stepping onto the field. He didn't make the team. A year later, guess what? He's 5'11", 145. He made the team, but unfortunately broke his arm. The point is, you can do anything you want. Okay? You can become an Ironman. It just takes training. Last quick story here. I'll tell you about an adult. 51-year-old guy, marathoner, endurance guy. That's kind of what I like to do. Training to run with his double amputee friend as his guide at the Boston Marathon, and also training for an Ironman. Riding on a beautiful Sunday, has a bad bike wreck. Ends up fracturing 6 fractures in his left hand, and breaks his shoulder joint so bad that the surgeons won't fix him. Had to go to Charlotte to have a team physician for the Panthers operate on him. That Sunday, got 18 pieces of hardware put into their hand, the left hand. Right shoulder got shipped to Charlotte and got 3 screws. That person thought, I'm going to be running a marathon in 8 days with my double amputee buddy. Guess what? The surgeon said you can't even travel. That person was immobilized for 3 months. The right arm. It's his dominant arm. Left hand came back okay. His goal, again, I'm friends with lots of people in the Naval Special Warfare community, the Navy SEALs. There's a fundraising swim that he does every year that swims across Tampa Bay, over 3 miles of ocean swim. And he wanted to be able to swim that swim. And his doctor said, look, good outcome's going to be brushing your teeth and combing your hair. You'll probably never swim again. And this guy goes, I don't know what you think a triathlete is, but the first part of the triathlon is a swim. I got to be able to swim, and I want to be able to swim this swim in January. Well, guess what? He did. And it took a team, again, a team approach. He was the victor, not the victim. He was better, not bitter, that he had a bike wreck, right? So what do all those common stories have together? Those are all stories about me. And I can tell you, I have nothing over any of you guys. I don't come from a wealthy background. I mean, my dad was forced on disability in his 40s. I mean, I had to pay my way through school. I took out loans and I paid them back. But there's not a single person in this room who has anything less than I have. I mean, you may not have good role models, but you got them here. All your coaches here. They're here to help you. Okay? Remember, it's your mind, the 6 inches he talked about, between your ears. It's being in shape. I mean, people say all the time, they make excuses about why they can't exercise. You only get one body. If you mess it up, doctors may be able to help you, but they're not going to be able to solve it if you don't take care of yourself. So the first person that you got to take care of is yourself physically, mentally, and then financially. People get themselves, again, you can have anything you want in life, you can't have everything, right? And when luxuries become necessities in life, you're probably spending too much money. Pay yourself first. Any of you can accomplish this. No matter how little you are, whether you're told you're dyslexic or you can't read well, I still can't spell well, okay? I'm a doctor, okay? I still don't spell well. I still misspell stuff. Does that make me any less of a doctor? No, it just means I don't spell well. I got dyslexia. Guess what? So what? But what I do well, I function well as a physician. I was a NASA shuttle support physician. I'm an ambassador for the Navy SEAL Foundation. I was chief of staff at Fry Hospital. I was chief of surgery. I mean, those are just titles. Those aren't what make you who you are. What makes you who you are is that person you look at in the mirror every day and you challenge to be better every day. Be the victor, don't be the victim. Be better, don't be bitter. So, hopefully, again, if you're down and you got somebody, reach up to somebody as a mentor. Feel part of the team, because you'll succeed. And it's not necessarily financial, it could be physical, right? It could be whatever. You can make the football team. And if you fail, so what? You tried, right? That's what that participation trophy is for. Show you tried. If you never try because you're scared, you're never going to succeed. So give yourself the opportunity to do that. Amen. How did I do, Coach?
You did very well. Thank you.
I'm going to say one last thing. So, when I have my bike wreck, I'm going to have Donald, there's a whole story written about this. I'm going to have Donald print this up, and if you guys want to read about it, it's a pretty incredible story, but it's not about me. The woman who wrote it kind of embellished a little bit and I think kind of went overboard about me. But I couldn't have done it without my team. And my team of people included Mr. Borehill here, Mr. Hunt Borehill. You may recognize the name, that's his family. That's all over the state of North Carolina. They've been very generous to not only the local area, but throughout the state with not only what they've done financially for the state, but also in their leadership roles. But this is my wingman. I mean, he's the guy who got me across when I needed to get across Tampa Bay, when I swam over 3 miles in open ocean to get me across after my wreck, and I was told I wasn't going to do it. That was my wingman. That's the guy who was my teammate, and we all need those people.